Welcome to Soul-Led Creative Women, the podcast for heart-centered creative women who are ready to reclaim their spark and live with deeper meaning, authenticity, and soul. So today I have Anna Rosa Parker with me. Anna is a lifestyle entrepreneur and coach helping startups, artists, and visionaries turn confusion into clarity through the power of storytelling. As the creator of Evoke Your Story, she guides clients to reconnect with their authentic narrative, express their essence, and design a life or brand that truly reflects who they are. So welcome, Anna.
Thank you. Thank you. It's nice to meet you.
So let's just start with your story. Tell us about your journey and how creativity is really featured in your life.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Thank you. I've always been some kind of a storyteller since I was a child that was creating some kind of books out of nothing.
Okay.
And I grew up in Iceland and it was very minimal at the time. It was different era and there was no sort of entertainment for kids. So you sort of are always entertaining yourself. And therefore, I think a lot of us are very creative from that sort of a
Mhm.
time frame. And also, I always wanted something more. So I was starting to live in some kind of a world that I, created in my own head and in my books. I did go into theater.
Mhm.
Eventually, I left, Iceland and went to the West Coast, University of Washington, and I studied acting, drama. So I got a university degree, but with drama and theater focus. And I became an actress for a while and into then playwriting. Because, when you're an actor, you sometimes don't get, very often you don't get the material you want. And
Mhm.
sometimes you also get things you don't want. So you start to kind of create, like, what do you want then,
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
started to write my own material, solo show that I did in Seattle, Iceland, New York. And then I wrote some sort of not dark comedies, but comedies with a twist, I guess. A little
Mm.
bit of wickedness. But it's yeah, it's always and it's very much about this sort of existence questioning always,
Mhm.
and whether it's put in a glamorous sort of a more staging or it's very, austere, but it's always about our existence and,
Mhm.
the illusion and where how much control do we have? How much of our story can we actually have power over? Or are we
Mhm.
just sort of on a whim following something, and
Mhm.
so, after some time in the theater, I was getting a little I wanted something different. It wasn't going as I thought it would. And I also, it's a very not very family oriented job. You often are asked to perform outside of the city. And my daughter
Mhm.
was fairly, was just, small. And so I just started to realize like it's not maybe for me now. And out of that, I went into different kind of storytelling. I was able to get a job in marketing
Mhm.
and which led me to all kinds of brand writing and advertising. And it was always in sort of my marketing career. It's always in some kind of high end luxury lifestyle. I think that was just because I always read my mom's magazines and that sort of you know, I turned me into that sort of a taste, that I liked sort of a nicer qualities and I knew how to speak to fashion. I had followed the designers and, I knew who they were and the stars who were wearing them. And that sort of that got me into the door at Nordstrom and corporate in, my first marketing job. And then we moved to New York and I continue, then I'm freelancing, continuing in advertising agencies and I'm still sort of doing some kind of a writing. I had a blog, for example, for like almost 10 years.
Okay.
It was like a lifestyle, I had a little wickedness to it, not just, I can't do only fabulous. There has to be some kind of a humor in it too,
Okay.
you know, something to smile about, something to have fun with,
Mm.
and just not take us too seriously either.
Mm.
And so, yeah, so now we're sort of coming up to the pandemic, and that's when my job evaporated. I was rebranding a hotel account at the time. And so that just, evaporated overnight. And
Mhm.
then we're back at sort of pivoting and figuring out what we're going to do. And so I have joined an online program for marketers and writers. And I thought, could be good for me just to sort of almost go to school in a way, just have a
Mm-hmm.
community online. We're all at
Mm-hmm.
home. New York was very dark. It was, people were just trying to figure out what this was.
Mm-hmm.
And early on in that program, I was like, how can I help like all these artists and actors who are trying to put a play on Zoom? I have some digital
Mm-hmm.
marketing experience. So it started there, my Evoke Your Story and the Evoke, the philosophy around it. It's really started as a personal branding more. And then I started to look at it and test it on different
Mm-hmm.
people, different individual who weren't necessarily creatives or artists. I mean, maybe conscious people, but not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily artists. And it's like, this really just works.
So your work is really centered around the power of storytelling. So tell
Yeah,
us about how storytelling and authentic creativity are really intertwined.
that's a good question. Yeah. I mean, it goes hand in hand if the storytelling is coming from an original, authentic place. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we're all sort of like inspired by something. Nothing is that pure, but when it feels grounded in you, who you are, and you're not
Mm-hmm.
trying to tell it because you want it to be liked or you think it makes you look good,
Mm-hmm.
then you have an authentic storytelling. And
Mm-hmm.
then if you meet that with your creativity, then that is authentic creativity, as well, because everything is a story, really, whether that is a sculpture or a painting, a
Sure.
play, design, there's always a story behind it, a dress, everything has its narrative.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so how authentically, where is it pulled from? I don't think you can have authentic storytelling if you, the creator, are not very authentic.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So,
So what
yeah.
stops people, do you think, from really claiming their story, as part of their, creative practice, or even just part of their identity and, the way they move in the world? What stops them?
Yeah. I think it's always fear.
Mm.
We're afraid of, we haven't, I think, we are very authentic when we're children, up to whatever, 5, 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And then we start to, you know, we're being shaped by our parents and authority and the society and all the rules and everything. You cannot do this, you can do that. And it
Mm-hmm.
starts to shape us. And along the way, we pick up different narratives, thinking that we are those narratives.
Yeah.
And we walk, and all of a sudden we hit a wall. We're not understanding who we are anymore,
Mm. And how do
you
you think
know?
we can move through that with, a bit more grace and ease, by, really owning the story, I guess, as part of, the way that we express ourselves in the world?
Yeah, I think we do need to unfold those narratives, look at them, see what we've
Mm.
been carrying with us. And most of the time, it's not even true because the
Mm.
mind tends to lie to us. But
Mm.
I am very much fan of the heart and tapping into the heart and the heart coherence, because I think the heart doesn't lie, but the mind
Mhm.
does. So the
Mhm.
more we are connected with our emotions to the heart, then we can start to tap into those truer stories and
Mhm.
our true needs and wants, and allowing that to tell the story. And alongside that, just breaking the fear of having the need for validation. I think people are always
Mhm.
asking for validation. So once we break out of that,
Mm.
we're free.
Yeah, cool. And the heart is more powerful than the mind, right? It's like the most powerful thing that we have. There's
Yeah,
science behind that,
absolutely.
right? So it's pretty cool.
Yes.
Yeah, so good.
It's wild. Yeah.
Mm.
It just draw me to that because, we've all know of Dr. Joe Dispenza, and he talked about heart coherence. And out of
Mhm.
that, I started to dig into that Heart Math Institute. So I studied with them and
Okay.
started to understand how the heart and the brain is connected, and how we can have so much more, we can tune into the heart and change our mood and change our feeling and change our energy
Mm.
and tap into our own story. Our intuition is all through the
Yeah,
heart.
beautiful. So how have you personally then, I mean, you've talked about it a little bit before, but how have you used creativity to, tell your story most authentically and powerfully? If you reflect back on all of the ways that you've expressed yourself, what's the most powerful thing that you've
Mm.
done to
Oh,
really,
wow.
share your story?
That's a really that's a big question. I think I wrote a solo show, and, like, now it's 20 years ago, over 20 years ago,
Okay.
and it was about this woman who was very much looking into her dreams, or, she dreamt this very vivid dream, and it sort of
Mhm.
took her on a journey, but then she's possessed by August Strindberg, so it's a little bit of a, dark twist there, but it was very authentic to me, that story, because I was just inspired by a lot of the Scandinavian, especially August Strindberg. He was so much more than we allowed him to be. He was seen as a, woman hater and all these things, but people not really realizing everything he came into this world with, his storytelling and his curiosity. So I got wildly curious about him. And this sort of a story came to me through dreams and came to
Mhm.
me very authentically.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that's definitely not that everybody understood it. That's a second, but I got to express this story, which was very important to me at the time.
Yeah.
And then what I'm doing now,
Mm.
evoke your story. It's literally about that. And going through that, I started to create this now. It's 5 years ago now,
Mhm.
and so I had to go through it as well, not just test it on other people.
Mhm.
And having tested it so much, it is very, very much who I am and what
Mm.
I believe in. And I'm very excited. It was very sort of I was a little bit not sure at first when I'm starting to test this on people to see if it actually
Mm.
works.
Mm.
But now that, so many times over, and even with teams, seeing what comes out of it, yeah, I'm proud of it. And
Mm.
also just, I connect with it so deeply. So I'm not afraid to talk about it.
Sure. And how do you think we know? Like how do we know that we're kind of nailing it and we're sort of being authentic and not kind of like only half in, like we can have one foot in and one foot
Yeah.
out type thing. How do we know?
I think that's exactly that. When there is the one foot out, then we have to see why is that other foot
Mm.
out and what is it doing? What is it telling us? And
Mm.
what's on the inside, where's all that? And where's it all coming from too?
Mm.
Where's the creation and the story coming from? I think that's always very important for artists to understand, what's behind sort of always asking the why,
Mhm.
why,
Mhm.
why is this story coming to me now? And what's important of it, and so on. Just always asking questions, being so curious about, because we're curious about, artists are very often curious about other people, and they inspire from other people, but they tend to forget to ask themselves all these questions.
Mhm. Mhm.
You know,
Mm.
when I speak to, I lecture sometimes at a New York University, NYU here, and I tell the acting students this, that they possibly know much more about the character they're playing than they know about themselves, and that tends to be true.
That's very powerful. That is, isn't it?
Yeah, because we
So do you,
dig deep, we want to know everything about this character, and then,
yeah,
but who are you?
yeah, that's very, very powerful. So do you think that then that quest for, you know, um, sharing our story, in the most authentic and creative ways that we possibly can, do you think that quest ever ends? Do you think it just continues to build and build as we move through our life? Do we ever get to like, a utopia or some kind of, mountain peak? Or are we on that
Right.
quest forever?
I think so. I
Mm.
think so. I think we're on it forever. I think, and depends what people believe in. If you believe in the infinite soul,
Mhm.
meaning you have various earth bodies and lives, or if you believe it's over when it's, this earth body is over. If the soul is infinite and we travel through different lives and bodies, I think that the purpose of it is because we have the soul is supposed to grow and expand and be able to to conquer all these things that, we often in earth life keep getting the same challenge over and over. Like it's a
Yeah.
loop because we haven't learned it. We haven't conquered it, got broken through it. There hasn't been a breakthrough. So it keeps
Yeah.
coming to us.
Mm.
And I mean, aren't you constantly growing and learning?
Yeah.
And do you think it's like
Yeah. I
an
think
ongoing journey?
it's infinite, really, isn't it? So
Yeah.
yeah, I think, um, once we've nailed something or expressed something and it feels really, powerful and real, we're called to then find the next thing. And those questions that you mentioned, they never end, right?
Yeah.
The questioning never ends. You've got to keep questioning. So yeah, it's very powerful. But I do
Yeah.
think, and that ties me into the next question, actually, you know, we have, we can cling on too tight sometimes, especially to creative identities that we might create,
Mhm.
your creative identity seems to have shifted quite a lot throughout your life. But what happens when we outgrow these versions of ourselves, these versions of our creative identity that we may have had some success with, even? And how do we then claim that next part of our creative evolution? How do we do
Mhm.
that?
Oh, this is a good question. I think we really have to be open-minded, and there's often a grieving part when
Yeah.
we sort of graduate or we feel like we're done with this part of ourselves. There can be a grieving period, and that's
Mm,
okay to take the time. I
mm,
think what helps us if it's silent and nothing is coming, um, the reconnecting with our curiosity
mm.
is so powerful because curiosity is what really drives us.
Yeah.
If without it, then what are we doing?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
means you're not interested in other people. You're not curious about the world. You're not curious about humanity or yourself. You're not, it sort of has a dead end without curiosity.
Mm,
And I think if we just, if somebody's going through that sort of a grieving period in their artist journey to sort of really start to unfold maybe the narratives they have been carrying and
mm,
rewrite them
mm.
and start to see which one they want to pursue and yeah, tap in the curiosity. I think it's just really important to take time, and it doesn't mean it's over because if you are an artist, you're a creative person, you always will be.
Mm. But there's an element of self-trust in that journey as well, right? So,
Yeah.
like trusting that if you're bored or if you're restless creatively, then it's a sign that you need to keep going and get that curious
Yeah.
cap back on. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really hard with people that have one of those, one-hit wonders, whether that is
Yeah.
a book, a play, an era. But it's if you were able to do it at some point, you can do it again.
Yes. Yeah. Or
It's just
something
going to be
better even.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So I also believe that our creative evolution and our spiritual evolution kind of operate in this duality and they actually feed and mirror each other. Has that been your experience too? As you've had creative breakthroughs, has that given you personal and spiritual breakthroughs as well, and vice versa?
yeah. It definitely when I'm connected spiritually, I trust what I'm creating.
Mm,
You know,
mm,
because it's almost like having I don't think you can have a artist or creative security, but I think you can have a spiritual security
yeah,
in a
okay.
way that when you are connected like that and you feel like everything is flowing, the ideas are coming to you and through you, and you're not occupied by the external.
Yeah.
And when you allow yourself to make these inner decisions and have that inner curiosity,
Mm,
it's and you parallel that. I mean, you connect that with your spiritual
mm,
um uh connectiveness, then then you're in a really good place.
mm.
But
Is
if
that
you
learning to
are,
trust the process, do you think?
yeah, really, and where does intuition come from? Like where is it from? Is it
Mm,
through some kind of different realm, different dimension,
yeah.
angelic energy? Like we don't
Mm,
really necessarily know that, but I think we know when we are connected to something that is bigger than ourselves.
Yeah.
So that's definitely, and when we're frustrated or we're looking at others and other people's work or looking at Instagram and all
Mm.
that, it's very external. There's nothing internal happening within us. It's
Mm.
all, we're just looking at something external. This person did that, this person did that. It's great to see what people are doing,
Mm.
but it's not where inspiration comes from.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Very interesting. I mean, I think it probably is a combination as well, isn't it? So you can see something externally, but then it's asking that question again, why is this resonating? What is, the story that this is telling me? And then you go on your own journey with it, right?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
just trust it, trust the information, trust the flow, trust all these, the ideas and
Mm.
the voices and ask for it too. It
Yeah.
doesn't really matter what your spiritual practice or religion is. You can always ask for,
Yeah.
ideas or, and something will just pop up in you feel like you know how it comes. It can look like it's in your head or in your heart, or it will be presented to you, as you walk down the street, or it
Yeah.
comes to you somehow,
Yeah. So cool.
Mhm.
So, how important do you think that creative expression and storytelling, in your language, are to finding kind of your true voice and living with more integrity as we move through life?
Well, I find it very important. And, of course, I'm biased because I created this program, Evoke Your Identity, or, started as Evoke Your Identity and then it became Evoke Your Story.
Okay.
Uh, and what it really is, it's essentially, I'm asking you questions about you, where you came from, and your knowledge, and what you gravitate towards, and your values and your goals. And we're looking at all this. And when you start to do something like that, you start to see if you are connected to it or not, or if some
Hmm.
of this stuff. That's where also you sort of start to spot out the narratives that you have been carrying and
Hmm.
seeing that they not might not, either they are not valid anymore, or they're
Hmm.
just BS. They're not, like, it's not true. Maybe you
Hmm.
didn't grow up as you thought. Maybe your mother wasn't as you thought. What I mean? There's so many things that come through when we start to sort of, look at our own garden and tidy up a little bit there and
Hmm.
clean and unfold and look under the rocks and all that. Um, so that's sort of the ground. And then out of there, you can really start to shape the story you want to live and tell. And once you start to do that, things just are more aligned. Then you start to have different synchronicities in a way.
Hmm.
You are wearing, because you have a different energy.
Hmm.
You have an energy that feels more aligned to you. And
Hmm.
when you are aligned and you are in your own energy, you start to attract things that are more, relevant to you.
Sure.
So certain synchronicities start to, and the stories start to change. So the story going forward start to really unfold in a very different way. And in this sort of a practice too, is because we make so many decisions based on the past,
Hmm.
because we know that,
Hmm.
uh, I always encourage people to get into the unknown, whatever space that is.
Yeah.
And, and how to get there can be, a mix of going through the heart, start to do things differently.
Hmm. Hmm.
If you're right-handed, brush your teeth with your left hand, little tiny things that take you out of the same sort of a loop of,
Hmm. Hmm.
eating the same food and answering the same way and thinking the same way.
Hmm.
Start to break this up a little bit.
Sure.
And then you find yourself in a space that you don't know what's coming next. You haven't decided what you're going to tell this person that is walking up to you, because you've sort of broken up this, pattern that is all based on
Mm.
the story that you know.
Yeah,
So
sure.
tapping into the unknown story, now you're in the unknown, unknown story. And that's a really fun place to be, because it can only be authentic to you if you are connected to that.
And that's almost like, a very feminine allowing, energy rather than kind of forcing
Yeah.
taking action all the time just because we think we must. Yeah. Very
Yeah, I
powerful.
love that. That's beautiful.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Mm.
know we're not very good at allowing or even receiving. We're
Yeah,
not even,
receiving.
you
Mm.
know, And people have a hard time accepting love and accepting, you
Mm.
know.
So
So
true.
that's just, yeah.
Mm. So for all the women out there then who are curious about evoking their story and, to take their creativity and their life to the next level, what
Mhm.
powerful message or question would you like to leave them with today?
Oh, I would I would like to ask them if how they connect with the story they wake up with every day. Because
Mm,
when we wake up, the system starts, right?
mm,
The story from yesterday is running already.
mm,
And is that the story that you're in love with, you want to live, you want to
yeah.
pursue? If so, then you're in a good place. If not, then let's pause.
Yeah.
Let's unfold all those narratives that you're
Mm.
currently living and map the story you want to live and pursue.
We get to choose.
We get to choose. We have so much more power. It just takes us a while to get here. Certainly it did for me because I didn't give myself that sort of authority to you make different decisions from your family,
Mm,
and it takes a while to get there even,
mhm, mhm. Yeah,
to break all
definitely.
these different patterns that we've been carrying. It's all stories, it's all narratives.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have a lot of power, and we can always rewrite the narrative. It doesn't
Mm,
mean that you are not telling the truth. You're
yeah.
just graduating and letting go of the old narratives, and you get to rewrite the one you want to live. And then you're in a place of pursuing something that you're in love with, you're passionate about, you're curious about.
Mm. We get to make the meanings of
Hmm.
our life. Yeah, beautiful. I love it.
Yeah.
So how can people get to know you better, Anna, and get a real feel for the work that you're doing?
Yeah, thank you. We have Evoke Your Story. It's both a website and an Instagram account and a Facebook page. Evoke Your Story. That's EVOKE. And then my website, LinkedIn, and Instagram is all also under my full name, Anna Rosa Parker. So I work one-on-one, virtually and in person. And then Evoke Your Story website is all about the on-demand course that people can do on their own
Right.
on their own
Excellent.
time. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for coming and chatting with me today, Anna. It's lovely
Oh,
talking to you.
thank you. I love your energy and the space. So thank you for that.
Hey, Sam here. Thanks for listening to the end. If you love this episode, I would love to hear from you. Please send me a message on social media. You can find me on Instagram at Sam Horton Studio. For more episodes like this, please subscribe to my podcast, Soul-Led Creative Women, on your favourite platform. You'll find all the links at samhorton.co/podcast. The themes and tools explored in this episode feature in my new online program, Empowered Creative Soul. To find out more and join the waitlist for VIP perks when doors open, please visit samhorton.co. The direct link is in the show notes. Take care.